Hey guys, what's up? Can we please normalize wearing masks? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Pompberry, and today I'm gonna do a makeup look that just involves the upper half of my face. I live in the United States where wearing a mask has somehow become political. I don't get it. I just don't, okay? People saying that wearing a mask is taking away their freedom. I'm very confused. At this point, if you don't wear a mask, you are willingly putting other people's lives at risk, right? Because wearing a mask is less about protecting yourself and more about protecting others, because it's your spit particles that will fly out into the atmosphere, onto things and onto other people if you don't wear a mask. There are many countries and many cultures where wearing a mask is normal. Like for instance, in Japan, I know that if someone is sick, they'll wear a mask to protect others. And so it's just normalized in their culture. And so we have to do that here. We've never really had to wear a mask before. And in America specifically, people only care about the individual. They don't care about the collective. Which honestly, I don't know how to explain to someone how to care about other people. I don't know how to do that. If you're not wearing a mask, you are being selfish. Plain and simple. I posted about this in my Instagram stories and I had someone contact me and be like, well, I have a medical condition. I can't wear masks. Well, you're the exception, obviously. And the rule here in the United States is people ages of 2 and above that don't have a medical condition impeding them from wearing a mask. Meaning if you do have a medical condition where you're not able to wear a mask, then obviously this doesn't apply to you. I'm talking about everyone else. We're so far into the pandemic that you're either willfully ignorant, that you're not aware of what's going on around you, or you just don't care. I don't know how to phrase it any other way. And I don't want my comment section to turn into a debate because this is not a debate. This is not optional. Wearing a mask should not be optional. In this case, it's very black and white. Either you care about the people in your community or you don't. And therefore, you're not going to wear a mask. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with empathy and caring about other people around you. So anyway, before I get even more worked up, and in an effort to try to normalize masks, I'm going to create a makeup look for when you're wearing a mask. And recently I got a few masks that are really pretty. This one is from Retro Folly. I'll leave the shop link down below. They're handmade. She's a seamstress that normally makes corsets that are beautiful, but she turned her attention towards making masks right now. And I also recently got the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties palette, and I think it goes quite well with this mask. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to go ahead and start, but before I begin, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. So because I'm going to be wearing a mask, I'm not going to be putting on foundation on my entire face. I think I might do some spot applications of foundation, but very, very minimally. And if I put this on, I can see exactly what part of my face will be visible. So I know that this blemish is going to be visible, so I'm going to try to cover it up. But anything below that, I'm not gonna worry about it. I actually love wearing masks now because if I get a pimple on my chin, I just put some pimple cream on it and then I can put a mask on and go out and no one will know. So I'm gonna prep this half of my face with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer just because my forehead tends to get a little oily, but I've also been using some pretty intense acne medications, which dries out my skin, so I just want to make sure it's balanced and ready to go. Then I think for spot application of foundation, I'm going to use the Milk Makeup Flex Foundation Stick in the color Light Beige. I think this color is a good match. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to very lightly apply some foundation to even out certain areas. And if doing makeup on only half your face will stop you from taking off your mask in public because you don't want people to see that you only have half your face done, then good. Use it as motivation to not take your mask off. I know that when I leave the house, I don't plan on ever taking my mask off off. Even when I'm in my car, I keep it on because once it's on, you're not supposed to touch it. So once it's on, I try not to touch it. When it's on, it's on. Unless, of course, I have to eat or anything, but I haven't really been going out other than to go to the grocery store. So I don't plan on eating out or anything like that. I'm also going to use this to kind of prep my eyes a little bit. And I'm using very minimal amounts. I'm just like tapping it and then applying it like this. So you can see the coverage is very, very light. And I just kind of want to have even skin. That's all I want. I don't want to do like a full coverage foundation. I don't even want to put any on my nose because I don't want to get my mask dirty. Then for concealer, I'm going in with the Milk Flex Concealer. This is the color light medium. I'm not sure if this is a good match or not, but I hope so. I'm just gonna spot conceal here and there. Again, not a lot of product. And just tapping that out with my finger. Then I'm just going to use some ColourPop concealer to prep, my lids. And I just like this concealer because it's pretty dry, so it dries down pretty well. I don't really like it as a regular concealer though. I know some people love it. I'm going to set my under eyes with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder for under eyes. And I'm just going to pat that down. This might not be the best brush for this, but I'm also going to powder here on my nose just in case I did get any foundation here. I'm going to set my lids as well. And then for my forehead, I'm going to use the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Setting Powder. This is pretty mattifying. I'll use it to kind of dust off the loose powder as well. So here you can see just how red the rest of my face is. And honestly, the bottom half of my face is where I have the most problems with acne. So it's actually a lot better for me to not wear foundation. So I love the whole mask thing. I love that I don't have to do half my face and I can just put on my skincare and that's it. And then I'm going to go in with the Milk Matte Bronzer in the color Baked just to go around my forehead a little bit. And I'm just kind of dabbing it on since I've already powdered. I don't really want to move what's underneath. This will just add a little bit of color back to my skin. Now for brows, I'm just going to brush them in the right direction and fill them in with the Urban Decay Brow Blade. I use two colors. I'm going to start with the color Cool Cookie. And I don't use the pencil side. I just use the ink stain side to just draw tiny little flicks. And I use this lighter color to kind of fill in the little gaps. Then I use the darker color to define the shape. So now with the color Blackout, I'm just going to do some like strategically placed strokes just to define the arch a little bit more and thicken up the tail. I'm not going to use this one too much, just very strategically. So I never had the She's in Parties stack. This is, again, one of their stacks that they've turned into a palette. They've added additional colors to it. So I can't compare it to the stack, unfortunately, but this is what this beauty looks like. It's just gorgeous. Especially this half of the palette, like this calls to me so much. But today I'm going to start off with Total Immortal just because I'm scared of dipping straight into Mean Streak because I know how pigmented melt shadows are. So I'm just going to start with this one because it's the lightest matte shade. And I'm just going to start applying that at the outer portion of my crease. And this will be my little transition shade. I think I want to go pretty pointed and outwards with this shape, which is what I usually do when I do a smoky eye. This look will be very dark, very smoky, because I think also with the fact that we're not gonna have lipstick or anything, it at least makes me want to go super bold with the eyes. So this is going to be a dark, bold look. Next, I think I'm gonna try to go into Mean Streak. I thought about going into Last Caress, but these two are really, really cool toned. Like you can see it on my eye that it reads a lot more cool toned and it goes on a lot darker than what it is in the palette. So I kind of just want to see what Mean Streak does. And if it's too dark, then I'll go in with Last Caress. But I'm going to start very lightly. I just tapped once and I'm going to deepen that. The pigment on this is insane. I mean, I didn't expect anything less from Melt, but that was literally one tap. So I know last week I reviewed the Urban Decay Ultraviolet palette, and that one I had to really work to get the pigmentation going. This is the opposite. This is one tap and it's like full pigmentation. So I'm just going to work very slowly. I love the melt eyeshadows, but they're honestly scary if you're not used to using eyeshadows. I don't consider them to be beginner eyeshadows because you can get carried away very fast. But I think they're also good because it teaches you to go kind of slow and build color up slowly rather than packing a ton on your brush at once. I'm kind of curious to use Last Caress and just see how that looks along the edge kind of. Okay, that's actually quite nice. I'm gonna keep shaping that kind of outwards and upwards. And just going back real quick to the thing that I mentioned in the intro of this video about your spit particles going everywhere when you're not wearing a mask. I remember years ago I watched a program and I tried searching for it the other day, but I could not find it. So if any of you know, please let me know down below. But it was on a TV show. They did an experiment where they basically put dye in people's saliva and they got people to wear white and just talk to each other. And then by the end, it was horrific. Like, people were covered in spots. It was so gross. And ever since seeing that years ago, I've always been aware of like when people talk too close to me, especially if someone's sick. And I think that's the sort of thing that's important for people to be aware of, because a lot of people might think that it's only a problem if you're coughing or sneezing in public, but that's not true. When you're talking, spit particles are just flowing freely. Okay, so one thing I will note is that even this color Mean Streak, it's reading a lot more cool toned than I thought it would. Like, it's tending a lot more purple on my skin than in the palette. Like, here I feel like it's a winey plum color, but on my skin I see it more as like an eggplant. So that's just something to note. Like, I would prefer it if it was a little bit warmer. Like, I love plums that have a little hint of red to them, but this sort of tone is gorgeous too. It's just not what I was expecting. Okay, I've kind of swatched on my finger these 3 shimmery shades, not the last darkest one. And I was initially thinking about using Sleepwalk because it's more similar to the matte colors that I used, but She's in Parties is a little more coppery red. I don't know, I'm just so torn. Like, I feel like these two would go really well together. I might try to use all of them. I don't know. I think I might start with Sleepwalk on the outer edge. I'm just gonna use it since it's on my finger. Right there. And then She's in Parties in the middle. Why not? Let's experiment. And then Strange Love here at the start. Kind of using Strange Love as a topper. I think I want to add some more Sleepwalk, which is that darker color. And then some more She's in Parties. And that definitely adds a touch of like red copper to everything. And then some more Strange Love just over top to give it a hint of lilac. These are really interesting colors. I'm gonna go back with Mean Streak just to kind of touch up the outer corner. And oh boy, intensify it even more apparently. And I kind of want to use Skeleton Kiss on my brow bone. So I'm just going to take it on that first brush that I used and run it right there. Oh, that's pretty. It's got like a pink shift. It reminds me, I think, maybe one of the colors in the Millennial Pinks palette. It like looks gold but reads pink. Ooh, I'm kind of curious about adding this to my lid as well. Just like a little pop in the center. Let's see. Oh, okay. I like that. I like that more than what we've got going on. Okay, that's really pretty. And then on my bottom lash line, I kind of want to go a little bit warmer. So I think I'm going to take the Melt Muerte palette. And I'm going to start with Sangre, which is this color right here. I'm afraid that Velorio will be too dark. And I'm going to start with this color. But then close to the lash line, I'm going to go back with Mean Streak to intensify it. See, this is kind of how I thought Mean Streak was going to look on the skin. And then on the teeniest little pencil brush, I'm going to take Mean Streak and apply that just real close to my lash line. I'm also going to add that close to my top lash line in the outer corner, kind of doing the same shape that I would with a liner. And you can see that just defines the lash line a little bit more, defines the eyes a little bit more. Now for my inner corner, I think I'm actually going to go in with Strange Love. And this isn't as light or bright as I normally would go for the inner corner, but I think it's going to look cool. Or I hope it is anyway. It's actually not showing up as much as oh, there we go. There we go. Just wasn't packing enough on my brush. Yeah, so this is a lot darker than I'd normally go for the inner corner. I might actually add something to brighten it up right in the very corner, but I do like this color here. And then for the very inner corner, I'm going to take the Danessa Myricks Metal Pigment in the color Love Story. And this is just the most multi-dimensional, shimmery pigment you'll ever see in your life. It's got a pinkish shift to it. So I'm just going to add that right, oh, yeah, there we go. Right there at the very corner. Just to give it a little oomph. And I might actually wet my brush a little bit since this is a loose pigment. It needs all the help with staying power that it can get. Oh boy. I think for my waterline, I'm going to go in with the Melt Gel Liner in the color Prissy. And it's like a coppery shade that I think would look cool in the waterline. Let's try it out. I think it'll just give it a little oomph. And it still looks kind of dark when the light isn't hitting it, but then when it does, it just gives a nice little pop of something. Now I'm just gonna put on some mascara and lashes, and that'll be it. And the mascara I've been really enjoying is the Milani Highly Rated. It's really good for daily use. It's not waterproof, but I have really sensitive eyes when it comes to mascara, and this one doesn't flake, it doesn't irritate my eyes, and it looks really good too. Okay, so I put on some Lily lashes in the style Luxe. Now I just need my mask, and I'm done. And there we have it. A half face that accentuates your eyes and lets you not have to worry about what's going on down here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. I just wanted to use the She's in Parties palette because I got it maybe like a week ago and I've just been dying to play with it. So yeah, my final thoughts on this palette is it's very consistent with the other melt palettes. If you've tried one, this is the exact same quality. I do really like the shimmers in this palette. They're a lot less chunky than their other ones. If you're used to their like really chunky formula, I feel like this is more like a traditional shimmer. So I do like that a lot. This lighter one is a little bit more chunky, I think because of the shift that it has. That's just the way that they formulate their shadows that have a shift. I've noticed that in their shadows anyway. But yeah, I'd say if you like plum colors, then this is a great palette. Be aware that it does read more cool toned on the skin than in the palette, at least for me. It might not on your skin tone. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my patrons who support me. Please wear your mask, and I'll see you next time. Bye.